Frank is the senior executive and the head of contract lifecycle. I missed a word here, risk management at Cognizant. Frank has grown in the ranks of Cognizant. So you were chief counsel, you've had international deployments, you have been a compliance officer.
It's all about improving our financial performance. Even if you look at compliance failures, right? Let's say we have an export control requirement, and that's in the contract, and we want to make sure that we're fulfilling any obligations related to that. Again, that comes down to fines, delivery problems, reputational risk, but all of that comes down to financial impact. So that's always the lens we look at. Mm-hmm. So from a charter, it's improving our financial performance through the mechanisms that impact through the contract. So how do you do that? One is you communicate. You communicate a lot, and it's interesting that you mentioned that it's very data driven, right? I report out a lot of information. I think about change management all the time. I torture my team to ensure focusing on simplicity, making sure that whatever we're asking someone to do, I would be willing to do it, and I could actually understand how to do it. So I try to really reduce the barriers to entry, and I don't roll anything out unless I'm comfortable that it is doable. And look, that's caused problems in the past because people want me to move more quickly, or they've made suggestions and I've rejected them, or I've gone backwards in time as far as the company was concerned, and I said, look, this methodology is not going to work. We're going to have to start from scratch on this particular tower. So you have to use your relationships. You got to use your political capital, but you have to be able to stand behind it. The data I put out tends to be the kind of data that helps people make decisions, right? The vast majority of the data that we use and report and that we are, I think, impacting the company with is the obligation data. What are the obligations we have? What is the compliance with that? This is a constantly running exercise. So I would say the most important and effective data stream is in the obligation side. The perspective that I've taken, which is to look at a contract as a business document that is reflective of the business case that the client thinks that they're achieving and that Cognizant is hoping to achieve. And then looking at all the touch points that contract has, and that sometimes there's risk mitigated through the contract, sometimes there's risk articulated there, sometimes the contract has nothing to do with the risk that's being kind of borne by the company. But for me to look at that full life cycle and step away from the elephant, as it were, and let all the different people touch their part, I think is very valuable. I think it's helped the organization put new processes in place, coordinate different organizations, and create a kind of a central hub where people come. What we've experienced is that business is changing rapidly, right? And the way people work and the kind of digitization of many, many elements of your business or your entire business is becoming digital. So using Icertis and working with Icertis is not a niche activity for us. I mean, it is becoming a core piece of our business, right? It's becoming an enterprise application. And there's no way to do that. I mean, I don't think for us, there was no way to do that all at once, right? And so we've had to do it in pieces, and we have to, some people have to be more patient, and other people, have to engage and be part of that process. But nothing is going to happen if you don't get started.